Hey guys, Erin here. So today is your lucky day. I have been working on these courses for Insight Timer, and what happened is they rejected it not once, not twice, but 3 times. So I might wind up doing the course for Insight Timer, who knows. But it's to your benefit because I am taking the, I think, pretty high quality sounding audios and I'm making them into podcasts for you. So the next couple of weeks, you're going to be seeing podcasts on the CLEAR formula, which is how we solve any problem, organize our thoughts, separate out the facts, see what our emotions are tied to our actions and results. And I'm going to be giving you the lowdown on how to use this in a really streamlined way. So this first series of podcasts, there's about 4 of them. I'm going to be going over the CLEAR formula in depth in a way that maybe you haven't experienced before. I do talk about this kind of often, but that being said, it's such a useful tool. Also, I want to announce that I am starting an online coaching group, and it's only $99 a month. I have 6 spots left. If you are interested in joining us, you can reach out Erin at erincoach.com. Those spots are not going to last. When they're gone, they're gone. And this is a reoccurring group. There's a minimum of 3 months. It's all about getting coached, having accountability, showing up every week, having tasks, and be willing to do the inner work. So if you wanted to work with me, but you just haven't been able to afford it, or if you're just curious about it, reach out to me. There is a vetting process if you've never worked with me in any capacity. I'll let you know what that is. And I hope that you enjoy this series of podcasts. Namaste. Hello, this is Erin Garrity, and welcome back to the masterclass on Relationship Toolbox, Drama Triangle, and Empowerment Dynamic. In the first lesson, I talked about an overview of the drama triangle and the empowerment dynamic. So if you're skipping ahead to this lesson, I do recommend that you back it up and try to listen to the first lesson, gather up the information, and feel free to listen to it more than once. These tools become easier to use with practice, like anything, right? Many times as adults, we forget that we have to practice, that we don't just automatically get things because we're wrapped up in our world with high expectations and perhaps we put pressure on ourselves. So if you haven't listened to the first lesson, or if you listen to the first lesson, you don't quite get it, feel free to review and listen to it again until you say, yes, okay, I kind of get this at least 60%, and then you can move on. So just to recap, the drama triangle is the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer. When we are in conflict, many times this is our default. Now, the antidote for the drama triangle is the empowerment dynamic. The victim becomes the creator. The persecutor becomes the challenger. And the rescuer becomes the coach. Now, we know from the first lesson that the victim feels helpless. The victim doesn't know how to help themselves because they feel completely disempowered. The role of the creator is the antidote for that, which is assessing the situation and recognizing that, yes, I can solve this issue. I get to choose. What do I have to work with here, even if I can't control everything? What can I do that is within my power to come up with a viable solution? When we do this, we step into the role of taking some accountability. We step into the role of recognizing our power, of recognizing that, yes, okay, maybe I made mistakes. Maybe I'm not perfect, but I can choose to use the resources that I have and create something beautiful. I like to give the example of a mosaic. So mosaic is different pieces, typically of different bottles or glass, that is cemented or glued together to form a beautiful new piece of art. And so even if we have fragments of mistakes that we've made from life experiences, we can look at those little fragments and we can piece them together for some beautiful, unique, new creation. So for me, I'll give a personal example. I am a coach. I'm a yoga therapist. I do many different things. And I also have suffered a lot. I had a 12-year eating disorder. I have a past with addictions and many, many other kinds of suffering. All of those were little shards that I glued together in this beautiful mosaic. And by accepting and recognizing those pieces rather than weakness as a source of strength, knowledge, and life experience, I was able to create a beautiful career using these tools and helping people and even making Insight Timer courses. And my experience and my mosaic is unique and it's beautiful, and the world can maybe appreciate its beauty and maybe even be inspired and helped by it. So that's an example of being a creator. Persecutor. A persecutor blames the victim for everything that's going on. So the persecutor also doesn't take accountability, but beyond that, they put it on someone else. Until that other person shapes up and ships up, then they have no power. So the persecutor usually has an anger about them, a sort of sense of justice, and they're so convinced that if this other person changes, then that is the answer to the problem. Whereas the victim feels helpless and they have no resolution whatsoever, just kind of stuck in the mud. The persecutor has a bit more anger behind it, but they're still outsourcing their power to someone else. So the antithesis or the antidote for the persecutor is the challenger. The difference between the persecutor and the challenger is that they are heart-centered. So there's still discernment. There's a difference between judgment, which is of the mind, and discernment, which is of the mind and of the heart. So using their discernment, they look at the solution as being a team solution. And so they will look at their role and take accountability. They will compassionately help and point out the role of the other person, and together work as a team to challenge the situation. So rather than blaming the victim for the happenings, they will look at the situation compassionately and be able to start to form a resolution, a solution based on the circumstances and what can we control, what thoughts, right? And what actions can we take based on that? And if you want to learn all about thoughts and actions and results and separating out thoughts and facts, you can listen to my masterclass on the CLEAR formula, which is also available on Insight Timer. And these two courses really pair well together. So we've gone over victim to creator, yes, and then persecutor into challenger. The last part of the triangle is going from the rescuer. And remember, the rescuer does not trust the victim to come up with their own solution. And they also have a sense of worth that is tied to being needed and coming up with solutions. Rather than being vulnerable and trusting, again, you can see how all these points of the triangle are related. They take it upon themselves to steal away a chance for other people to help. Okay, so the antidote for the rescuer is the coach. The coach doesn't try to solve other people's problems that are not theirs to solve, but rather the coach, from a space of compassion and heart-centeredness, asks questions. Ask questions helps to coach, helps to guide. The example I like to give is if you had a child that was having trouble with math, and I was that child, by the way. Math is difficult for me. I had a parent that would just try to do it for me. So they would try a little bit. I would give up. So I would go into the role of the victim. I didn't know how to do it. I would get upset. And so what happened is I had a rescuer, and that rescuer would do my assignment for me. We would hand it in. We'd get a decent grade. And then I got to college and I didn't know what I was doing at all with math. So this could be avoided by having patience, compassion, and trying to solve together by asking questions. And so when we adopt the role of the coach, we trust in the other person's power. We trust in the other person's autonomy. And we trust in the other person's journey. part of this is accepting that their journey might look different than ours. It might look different than what we think it should be. Becoming aware of this allows us to respect the other person's journey, not try to steal it away, and be aware of our own agenda. What does the rescuer get out of rescuing the victim? Well, they might not have to be intimate with asking these questions and understanding and getting to the root of why this is so difficult and helping this person and guiding them. And then they would just do it themselves to get it done, right? Check mark. Whereas the coach has patience and compassion and allows the victim that's maybe starting to step into the role of the creator to look at themselves, look at the issues, and remind them that they have the power. And it's okay to have a guide. It's okay to have a coach. And it's great to have people that ask questions and don't try to solve your problems. If you have a coach that's trying to solve all your problems, run away. So you are your own best resource. But sometimes we need some guidance. Sometimes we need someone to ask good questions and to challenge our beliefs. And so this is the difference between a rescuer and a coach. So if we become aware at any point in time that we are falling into this default mode of the drama triangle and we're just cycling through this and it seems endless, becoming aware of these patterns and knowing the antidote, that we step into these other roles and try to shift the pattern. Again, like anything, this takes practice. And the great thing about these tools is it's real life application. Sometimes you need to take a step away, right? If you're in the middle of a conflict, you're like, okay, I don't even know what I don't know because I'm too heated. Take a step away, take some deep breaths, and become aware of the pattern. If you're not even aware of what you're doing, how can you solve it? You're too caught up. So take a step back, take some deep breaths, and just remember that you've got this. You can handle it. And using these tools, becoming aware, you can come to a resolution, you can be a better team player, and you can step into the role of creator and maybe even be a good coach. So try to apply these tools, and thank you so much for listening to my masterclass. Namaste.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Erin@erincoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Thank you so much. Namaste.